play style was pretty cheeks, abysmal. His jump shot wasn't the best, couldn't really dribble. But back then, I don't think the style of play looked up to par to what today is. So there's kind of really no apples to apples comparison when it's the 50s and 60s to the 2020s and on. Two total different style of play, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have no three-point line back then. The nigga was doing all this in Converse. Now, if you guys can do me a favor, hit that like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. It goes a long way. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Bill Russell was the first ever black coach to ever coach in the NBA. He's been to the most NBA finals and has the most NBA championships. Bill Russell for his career averaged 15 points, 22 rebounds a game, 4 assists per game, and according to statisticians back then, 8 blocks a game. 15, 22, 4, and 8. Now, for a man that won 8 straight NBA championships, you would think he would get way more praise, but I get it. There was 1.5 teams back then. But hey, he didn't choose which era he was born in. So why are we discrediting him for that? Now, disclaimer, I don't think Bill Russell is the actual GOAT, but I'm just here to provide the argument, to get people to think a little bit, because everybody is so one-dimensional when it comes to the GOAT conversations between Kobe, Bron, MJ. Bill Russell was 11-1 in the NBA Finals. He played 13 seasons, by the way. He went to 12 NBA Finals. The only NBA Final he didn't go to was because he was knocked out by Wilt Chamberlain. Russell was drafted in 1956, NBA Finals. Next year, loses to Bob Pettit, NBA Hall of Famer. Then he goes on to win 8 straight finals. But you know what's super outstanding about the 11 championships is that his last 2 was as a player coach, meaning he was the head coach and the player. Nowhere in Bill Russell's career was he ever considered the #1 option. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, does that really matter if you're winning though? During the player coach tenure, I think he sat out 4 games in a row, and I think they lost all 4 games. Bill Russell was an astounding 21-0 in winner-take-all games, meaning in Game 5s, best of 5 series, or in Game 7, also including the Olympics and college. He won back-to-back NCAA championships for the University of San Francisco Dons. In 1956, he also led the United States to an Olympic gold medal. I was watching film and I said, man, his style of play back then, does it look good back then? And I was like, dang, I was watching everybody else play. I seen Jerry West jump shot. I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe Bill Russell just didn't have the skill level to look real skilled. But he won, which even makes the case that much better. He is second all-time with the most NBA MVPs behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is second all-time in rebounds in history. And I want to take a different stance on the less teams back then, so it's easier to win argument. There was only about 8 to 9 teams when he played back in his era, right? Which means it makes it that much more harder to make it to the NBA, 1. 2, you're playing Wilt Chamberlain, Willis Reed, Thurman, all these other guys who are Hall of Famers. You're playing them 8 to 9 times a season. Think about that, food for thought. I want to talk about Wilt Chamberlain a little bit, you know what I'm saying? One of the greats of all time, scored 100 points in the game. Allegedly. Wilt Chamberlain only won 2 NBA championships, one in which was in the era of Bill Russell. In Bill Russell's final season, they played the Lakers in Game 7. They were blowing them out. Wilt Chamberlain, all out of nowhere, suddenly gets injured. The Lakers didn't come back to make it a 1-point game. Wilt Chamberlain tells his coach, I'm ready to go back in. I guess his injury just surprisingly went away. Coach, in layman terms, basically said, go F yourself. And they finished the game without Wilt Chamberlain. But Bill Russell, in a way, made Wilt quit. Wilt Chamberlain was way more a physical, dominant threat than Bill Russell ever was, but yet one less. Now, this isn't a video to knock on Wilt Chamberlain, man. Wilt Chamberlain is a whole different beast in itself. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a Wilt Chamberlain video. I'll give you guys the stats and facts for that ass for him as well. We're just crediting a basketball historian for the era he played in, as if he chose it. Now, Wilt Chamberlain went on file to say this about Bill Russell. There are 2 types of superstars. One makes himself look good at the expense of the other guys on the floor. But there's another type who makes the players around him look better than what they actually are. And that's the type of player Bill Russell was. This is like the LeBron James conversation, right? And now, LeBron technically is my GOAT. LeBron James does this a lot. He does make his teammates look a lot better than what they actually are. In most cases, this whole conversation is all opinionated. Nothing is based on fact. It's all subjective. In all actuality, our GOAT conversation could be anything you want it to be. Your GOAT could be Jameer Nelson. Think about this. What they're praising MJ for over Bron is what Bill Russell did, doubling that. He didn't do 2 3-peats. He did 2 3-peats and a half. 8 straight. I don't care if it was 2 teams back then. He dominated the way he was supposed to. I feel like people will give Bill Russell more credit if he lost, because then you're like, oh, the competition was hard because he wasn't winning every year. But the fact that he dominated and won almost every single year, everybody's like, man, the competition was weak. So lose. Can't win in that situation. To the late great Bill Russell, I'm just here to give you your flowers. You deserve to be in these GOAT conversations, along with a lot of other basketball players that played throughout history. Now I'll catch you guys in the next episode. It's not even an episode, man. Sayonara, we're out of here.